Welcome to today's Explainer. Hey, if you're a 10-year-old tuning in right now, you are in for a seriously incredible adventure today. We're going to become detectives, you and me, and solve a massive, super fascinating mystery hidden inside a famous devotional text. It involves ancient titles, a secret kind of peace, and, get this, an invisible sword. Sounds pretty epic, right? Okay, let's dive into this and look at the exact puzzle we need to solve today. So in Matthew chapter 10, verse 34, Jesus says, "I came not to send peace, but a sword," right? Now, read that one more time. Jesus is actually saying that he didn't come to bring peace to the earth, but rather a sword, literally a sword. Doesn't that strike you as a bit of a paradox? I mean, I know exactly what you're thinking. Wait, doesn't Jesus give peace? Isn't his actual, literal title the Prince of Peace? Well, if you're confused, you are absolutely right to be. It feels like a giant riddle. How in the world can the Prince of Peace, someone who loves absolutely everyone, say that he's actually bringing a sword and not peace? That is the exact mystery our explainer is going to investigate and solve right now using the clues from our source text. Section 1. Two kinds of peace. Internal versus external. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the devotional text gives us our first major clue to solving the riddle. See, there isn't just one kind of peace in the world. Actually, scratch that. There are two totally different types of peace. Let's compare them side by side. Over on side A, we have external peace. The text describes this as conformity with the world. Basically, this means trying to make sure everyone around you agrees with you, trying to just fit in with the crowd, and desperately trying to stop any arguments from happening. It's kind of like trying to run outside and yell at a giant thunderstorm to stop raining. Good luck with that, right? But then look at side B. This is internal peace, or the peace of Christ. This isn't about stopping the storm outside. Instead, imagine you're inside a super strong, warm, safe house, just sitting by a fireplace with some hot cocoa. Outside, the wind is howling and the storm is totally raging, but inside, you are completely safe and calm. That is internal peace. The devotional points out that this specific internal peace was actually a special legacy. And think of a legacy like a super valuable treasure that someone leaves to their family. Right before his crucifixion, Jesus gave this exact treasure to his disciples, saying, "Peace I leave with you. Let not your heart be troubled." It was this amazing gift meant to stay inside their hearts forever, no matter how crazy or stormy the outside world became. Section 2. The Sword of Truth, a disturber of peace. Okay, so what about the sword? Why did Jesus say he brought a sword? Well, our source text gives us a brilliant definition. The sword of truth isn't a literal metal sword like you'd see a knight swinging around in a movie or, a diamond sword from a video game. It's a spiritual concept. The text calls it a disturber of peace. Remember that side A external peace we just talked about? The kind where everyone just conforms and acts the same to avoid arguments? Well, the truth is like an invisible sword that cuts right through that fake worldly peace. It completely separates the truth from unbelief. It's much like an invisible spiritual clash involving warriors in ancient priest tunics. Pretty wild, right? So why does this truth cause such a massive stir? The devotional breaks down the reasons for this division. First off, people have a choice, and sadly, some will refuse his infinite love. And because of that choice, the text points out that unbroken unity could only ever happen if absolutely everyone in the world accepted Jesus. But since they don't, division naturally happens. The truth literally becomes a sword to those who reject it. And because of this invisible clash, the text says you might face opposition from avowed enemies, and sometimes even a freezing coldness or suspicion from people you thought were your friends. Section 3. The line of demarcation. Where do you stand? And this brilliantly illustrates drawing a line in the sand, a line of demarcation that separates two completely different things. Let's walk through this together, because it perfectly maps out this boundary line. Over on the left, we've got those who stand upon the Word of God. This means you're standing up for absolute truth, which brings that incredible storm-proof inner peace we talked about, but it might cause you to stand completely alone. Then, on the right side of the line, we have the traditions of men. This is when people follow what the text calls the worldly mass. It's basically just going along with whatever the crowd is doing. Sure, it might bring you a temporary, external, worldly peace because nobody is arguing with you, but you're just conforming to the crowd instead of standing up for what's actually right. So here is the really crucial point, the tough reality. The devotional tells us clearly that families and friends might actually be divided when you choose to stand on the Word of God. I mean, think about it. If you're a kid at school and you decide to do the right thing when literally all your friends are choosing to do the wrong thing, there's going to be a division. That invisible sword of truth will cause a split, purely because you're stepping away from the crowd. Section 4. Standing alone for truth, being true to your conscience. Let's move to and see how this builds. Because when you're forced to choose between the crowd and the truth, how do you actually stand alone? The source gives us these 4 super clear steps. Step 1, know your convictions of conscience. That just means listening to that feeling in your gut that tells you what is true and right. Step 2, distinguish yourself from the worldly mass. Seriously, don't be afraid to look different from the crowd. Step 3, stand firmly upon the word of God. Plant your feet right there and don't budge. And step 4, keep your unbreakable internal peace. Even if you're standing totally alone on the playground, you keep that amazing treasure safe inside you. Now, if standing alone sounds a bit scary, I want you to hear this absolutely amazing promise from the text. The peace of Christ is not to banish division, but it is to remain amid strife. This is the coolest part of our whole mystery. Jesus didn't give you peace so that everyone around you would magically stop arguing. No way. He gave you this peace so that when the arguments and the strife happen, your peace remains perfectly intact right in the very middle of it all. Section 5. The unbreakable inner peace. A peace born of truth. Just look at this list of chaotic things the devotional says will be happening on the outside. Without, meaning out in the world, there may be wars, fightings, jealousies, envies, hatred, and strife. It sounds pretty terrible, right? But here is the ultimate secret. None of those things can get through your front door. All of those things, they're just part of the external storm. They will bounce right off the invisible shield of your internal peace. And that brings us to this incredibly powerful concluding quote from our source text. The peace of Christ is not that which the world giveth or taketh away. The world didn't give you this peace by agreeing with you, so the world absolutely cannot take it away by disagreeing with you. It is a permanent, completely untouchable gift. You can be the bravest kid in the room, standing up for what is true, and even if people get totally upset, your heart can be completely untroubled and unafraid. So we've solved the mystery. The Prince of Peace brings the sword of truth to cut away the fake crowd-following peace of the world, leaving you with an invincible, storm-proof peace right on the inside. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on today. When the storm of division comes in your own life, will you be brave enough to stand alone with the sword of truth to keep your inner peace? It's a huge challenge, for sure, but you have the exact right tools to do it. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. Keep standing strong for the truth.